In this book, Yoo-Hoo, even though I'm writing about Christian identity, your identity in Christ, there's a lot about philosophers that people might be surprised it's in there. Specifically, Jean-Paul Sartre, who was an existentialist. He was a very important character in Western civilization, but really in so many assumptions that we have today about the self, the nature of the self, how we become who we are. You are what you make yourself. That when you decide something, you do it. That you're kind of the steward of your own self. Now, the workable definition that he gave existentialism was that your existence precedes your essence. This is the idea that you can exist before you have any objective value or your real essential self. One of the reasons I bring this up is I see Christian women embracing this thought all the time. When you think I need to self-create, I need to do this to make myself more this way, and these are assumptions we have. But the big thing that we see all in our culture is that our whole culture believes this, and it comes up in clashes like abortion. And just this week, tragically, New York passed a horrible bill, and you see roomfuls of people clapping, thinking that this is somehow a great blow for human rights. And for people who are pro-life, who know God, they look at this and it's like a huge chasm between us. How could you think this is just? How could they think this is neat or worthy of celebration? But this concept of existence precedes essence means that the world believes a person can exist with no value. And that's something that should be completely, in all ways, Department of Hell no for Christians. We don't believe there is such a thing as a living human being that has no value. And for the world, this is why abortion should not be a surprise. An infant can never compare in value to their mother because the world believes that you only have value through the exercising of your own will, which is why I think the choice movement has never been, choice is not talking about the choice between life and death. It's talking about the choice to create yourself however you want to create yourself. And so you see all these people clapping and cheering, and they actually believe that they are defending a fundamental right to life. They think they're defending the right of a woman to create herself as she sees fit. If you love God, I hope you see totally clearly that they're celebrating death, but they believe what they're celebrating is the right to life. And so this is why I thought I'll read you a short section from my book that is about abortion, but it says, this is why in recent years the abortion movement has become more and more honest about what is happening without being deterred from the mission. They know it is murder, as it's perfectly clear that a life is being taken, and they don't care. They are no longer trying to hide what is happening because they believe that even when the facts are all presented, it is still fine for the woman to choose to end the life of another, dependent, remember, valueless, a human that's made no decisions yet, human being. They believe it is acceptable for a woman to write sex into her life and simply edit out the consequences because she's creating herself, because she can make those decisions. In fact, it's more than a belief. She must have that freedom if she's going to be the author of herself. Because the infant is only existence as of now and not any essence, having never exercised its will or done anything, it cannot be compared to its mother. There is no equity of value. Now, I hope you see, for the Christian, there is equity of value, and that we are called to treat even an infant in the womb as the same value, a value given by God, a soul, an eternal soul, as a full-grown person. While saying that it is only a fetus, only a blob of cells, only nothing, what they mean is that it is not yet a person because it's not yet writing its own story. It should come as no surprise that this logic is growing to cover the category of young infants, the old and frail, the disabled, and the mentally unwell. Now, the reason I bring this all up is that most Christian women should see this kind of thing. The thought of a baby being murdered as it's being born should be so disturbing to a Christian, and is so disturbing, that many of us are just staring at this problem like, how did this happen? How can we ever communicate with people about this? What we haven't seen is how much we're using the same philosophical understanding of the self in much more trivial ways. If we could see some of those memes, those thoughts that we're trying to encourage each other with, we're trying to encourage each other about your busy carpool, Stop saying yes to everyone when it means saying no to yourself. And we say things like that to each other, thinking this is life life-giving advice and life-giving freedom. But we're dealing in the theology of hell. We're dealing in the kind of thing that is actually a death blow to children. Like, we're dealing in things that are much weightier than what we're giving them the credit for. So if you could see some of those images, those little thoughts, not overlaid on a coffee cup, but on the front of Planned Parenthood, see it with an infant being thrown away instead of a busy schedule, what would that make you think about some of your assumptions? And this is why I believe it's super important for us to stop and really consider the fundamental issues of life, who we are, who our Creator is, who gives us value, and how we got to this place.